Warbands this war are Herc, Kingpin, and Void. Boss Island, Spot, you've got Fury, Moleman, Crossbones. Domino, you've got Omega Sentinel, Nimrod. Korg, you've got Omega Red, Apocalypse, Kitty Pryde. Mangog, you've got Silk and Quicksilver. Fury, you've got Omega Red, Apocalypse, and Kitty Pryde. Shared Islands, Doom, Old. That one is Old 22. Cassie or Quicksilver. Spidey, Old 49. Cassie or Quicksilver. And Absorbing Man, Old 26. Cassie or Quicksilver. Hulkling up there on the left. You can use Gallon or Hulkling, or you can use Tigra or Rintra. That is Old 46. Old 23 Gore, go with a Mystic with power control, so Doom can also probably just get away with Claire as well, and then, or Rintra, Tigra, and then Joe, which would be Old 47. Really anyone, Hulkling can work, easy knockdown, Valkyrie can work, easy knockdown. Island down here at the bottom, Gallon is on Old 20. I would go with Rintra, Tigra, or Blade, or Wiccan. Adam Warlock is on Old 19. Really anyone, but Doom and Claire probably stand out the most. And then Infinity War Ironman on Old 25. I would go with Gallon or Omega Sentinel for the buff immunity. Or sorry, the nullify immunity. Path 1, I would bring a Mystic for Shuri and Hyperion, so Doom or Claire, and then bring your science counter tech counter for Sauron, Nimrod, Omega Sentinel, and then bring Blade or Anti-Venom for Mephisto. Path 2, honestly, you can take the whole thing with Hulkling. You can go with Gallon for the first 3 as well and bring Cassie for Overseer, so another shock immune. And then path 3, again, you can take the whole thing, probably with a bleed immune, so Cosmic Ghost Rider or Claire for Surfer. And then if you're not comfortable with Claire versus Ant-Man, bring an Ant-Man counter, so Fury or Moleman. You could get away with Hulkling everything except for Surfer, and then bringing either of those 2 options for Surfer as well. Path 4, the problem there is Photon, so Crossbones, Fury, or Moleman. You're not going to be able to prevent debuffs, so Mantis is out. Could still be used, but you just need to be comfortable dealing with Unblockable the whole time. And then you've got full mutants, so you can go Mega Sentinel or Nimrod. Path 5, the problem there is Maw. I would just go with Quicksilver or Ant-Man. And with Ant-Man, just focus on landing big special 2s before you knock him down, or after knocking him down, and have a White Magneto pre-fight. And then bring your counters for Black Cat, Danny, and Venom the Duck. You can take all 3 with Apocalypse or Omega Red if you're more worried about Black Cat not being able to stun or whatnot, or shrugging debuffs. And then path 6, your 2 focus, those Mystics there, Quicksilver, Cassie, Silk, all good options. And then you can use Hulkling or Tigra for feature Ant-Man, and then for Zemo, Apocalypse, or Kitty Pryde, or Omega Red. Path 7 focus there is that Hulk, Silk, and Quicksilver. Not only do they have the slow from the global, but they also have their own slow, so they'd be probably the best there for Hulkling or for Hulk. But in section 1 for Path 7, you can go Apocalypse or Omega Red, and then for G99 back there, you can go with a miss counter, so Magneto, or you can go with the cosmic options that counter her real well, or a Nebula. Path 8, you're looking at really no specific counter needed for any problem. Whatever works best for you. I'd say Quicksilver is probably going to be everyone's main issue. So Moleman, Fury, or Elsa there, and then she can probably flex on Black Widow there, and then bring maybe a champion that'll probably like Doom for Mordo there, to steal power, not more so to actually steal buffs. And then you can use either of those two or bring a counter for Namor. And then Path 9, Section 1 is your problem spot. So I would go Quicksilver, Cassie, or Silk for those first two. Bringing a Poison Immune for Immortal Abomination. Bonus points if it's a Poison Immune that's also Bleed or Shock Immune. So Hulkling stands out the best. And then Ant-Man or Cassie. And then Kitty Pryde there, Omega Sentinel or Nimrod. So that does it for defense. Let's take a look at attack. All right, so War 3 are taking Path 9 in Section 1 and 2. Two shared fights, and then 2 mini bosses on Boss Island. So Path 9 here, starting off 2 Sugar Pill champs, Mysterio first, taking them both with Silk. Silk does have easy access to debuffs, but as you saw last war, the hazard shift nodes start off a little dicey with not reducing the damage, but here we didn't get our first Incinerate until we had debuffs up. So here we're actually going to end up healing quite a bit, and there's already our first special 1. And my goal here was actually just to try and push Mysterio to special 2. So there's going to be a lot of blocking immediately after pushing him past the bar and at the end of my combos. Plus this has power reserve, so this would have been the old node 21. Where he's not going to actually drop below a bar of power. So I actually do just wait out the miss from time to time. And then once he's clear of it, I will try and work him into another special 2 and just cycle this. So at the beginning, it was really fast because we had a lot of power to play with. But here we've got a bar and a half that he already is holding on to, and I don't want him to throw a special 1. I don't want to waste time getting cornered, waiting for that where I can't touch him. So here, this is perfectly fine. We heal from Power Drain. He throws a random heavy, so that kind of sucked. But no big deal. This right here, I decide to go with the Relic and finish it with the heavy. Would have been the special 2, was kind of what I was going for, but she did enough damage that it was done. We move on. Dragonman here. We're going to take it also with Silk. This one should be a lot easier. There's really nothing to this fight. We don't have any buffs that we're going to give Dragonman through MD. He's going to have Power Focus 1. We have Stun worked into our combo, so landing a parry actually isn't that big of a deal. It's really just making sure we don't get hit through the fight, especially cornered, which we shouldn't get cornered. And we're actually going to end up healing through this fight, so reducing the dot damage from all our debuffs and the decay tactic. The entire time we spend healing from willpower from having a debuff on us. So here's a special 2 out of a heavy off of a combo. There's your big burst, 33 hits, and he's below 75%, or sorry, below 25% health. And he's just pretty much done. Here's going to finish it. Oh, nope, forgot about the indestructible. Great timing there. Combos down. So we move on to Section 2 of Path 9. It starts off with an Immortal Abomination. We're going to use Hulkling. So having a half immune here on top of a poison immune, big deal. They're a decent number, or a few, poison shock immunes, especially since Cassie's been added and Ant-Man got a buff. So you have those 2 on top of Hulkling. And chances are those 3 aren't going to get a ban from war. So this is pretty easy. Shock phase, we start out, you just combo into it, pushing Immortal Abomination to the wall, getting prepared for the bleed phase. So here's bleed. Gonna kind of hit into his block a couple times so we don't have to do a full 5 hits once shock shows up to get the pierce buffs and the unblockable to throw the unblockable special 2. And here it was only 1 hit, so we were ready to go. We're gonna turtle, try and get an opening to land a few hits while we have double furies, and we are into the bleed phase. So we're going to back off here. He's barely got any health left, so it's just going to take 1 more cycle of that exact same thing. Again, hitting into his block to get prepared. Here comes the shock phase. I want him to turtle 1 more time. There we go. Hit into the special 2, and down he goes. Other benefit of getting that Pierce ready is that we don't have 5 or 4 weaknesses on us. We only have the 1 from hitting into Immortal Abomination's block. Kitty Pryde here, Omega Sentinel. Super easy fight. We just have to wait out the shock phase. We don't need to place a weapon. We're going to stay in the one that Omega Sentinel starts with, and that'll prevent Kitty Pryde from ever gaining a prowess once it's placed. Yeah, so it's just this. Waiting this phase out. Could go with an Odin pre-fight, but as you saw with our team, we don't have that worked in. Time for bleed, so time to go ahead and start punching into Kitty Pryde. Healing from the bleed debuffs. And yeah, this is pretty much the fight. I'm going to end with mediums instead of refreshing. Here comes the shock phase. Now we're going to wait it out again. She's being very, very liberal with her special ones, throwing them almost immediately. Wanted to hit into block there. There, she almost tried to step back, intercept me, which she kind of did. I just had auto block ready. Sneaky AI. It's funny, all I was trying to do was hit into her block too and not actually intercept her. And then down she goes off the relic. So path 9, pretty easy. We look at the shared fights, decide which ones we want to take. Infinity War Ironman stood out since I have a buff immune or a nullify immune, buffet immune, Omega Sentinel. Here the game plan for me was just to pay attention to how many armor ups he has so we don't get armor blocked, or sorry, so we don't get auto blocked. And we just build to the special 3, wait for the power sting to fall off, drop the special 3, and then with those 6 incinerates placed, we're going to pause them. So it'll be mostly off of heavy attacks, since heavy attack openings are pretty easy here with either a reparry or retaliating his heavy with our heavy. And then we're just going to hope that we can pause enough incinerates to pretty much skip the 18 or below phase of Infinity War Ironman. So almost to the special 3. We are going to get poison stung right as we get to it. There it is. We're going to wait for that to end just naturally. It's gone. Build our last bit of power there. Decide to throw in a pause before throwing the special 3. Don't get a perfect on the minigame, not a big deal. Now we have 6 incinerates just melting him away. They're paused at the moment, and we're just going to focus on that pause. But yeah, this is the fight. It's kind of the same strat I use for Conflictor. This is us just avoiding any type of auto block and power gain near the end from Infinity War Ironman. So could easily be done against the rank 2 Infinity War Ironman. Gallon, I'm sure, works really well for this node since he is nullify immune as well. And here we go. Last little bit. Melt away. Doesn't matter about your power gain. So it's a good call. We move on to our next shared fight. It was Joe here on Resistance is Futile. We have to knock him down to remove the, I believe, 75% block at this level. And Limber is on this node, so eventually we won't be able to stun and land a heavy. So I really just don't rely on it. Decide to go in with Hulkling. I decide to use the special 2 while unblockable as our knockdown, and then with the double furies after that, and the protection being down, we take off chunks of Joe. Only kind of downside about this fight is that it is a 7-star with Pierce, and Joe has quite a bit of block penetration. So it's not going to show here, but as we get going, or as we get close to taking Joe down, you're going to see large chunks come off of Hulkling. And it did somewhat make me nervous. If I hadn't been facing a rank 1 and he'd not be at about 50% health when my health started dropping, then I would have been worried. But here I'm going to wait for the protection to come back. Now we're going to work in this unblockable special 2. Easy knockdown. Back into hitting him in the face with Furies. There's some block penetration for you, starting to build. And there we go, all spades. So here is the block penetration that I am talking about. Made me a little bit nervous, and I'm honestly trying to bait out a special 2 here, and we keep getting blocked hits in instead. And there he goes, he finally throws it. Setting ourselves up for the next special 2. There we go. decide to start parry stunning here so that we can get some openings. We got an intercept there. It's got a special 2. Got to make sure we don't eat it. Good. Building to our final special 2. Protection is back up. Gonna wait for some charges so that we can get our unblockable. And here, obviously, I felt pretty safe about the fight and confident that we were gonna finish it. There we go, our unblockable into the special 2. Wait for him to throw a heavy and such. Reparry to end it. So, easy fight. Move on to Boss Island. We take these 2 left minis. We're taking Mangog with Silk, which is super easy. I mean, we're not going to give him extra hatred outside of his special 1. I'm going to let him throw special 1s because if he goes unstoppable / unblockable with a special 1, it's not a big deal. And we're going to have at least 1 special 2 that we can fully auto-evade. And then we have to wait for that auto-evade to rebuild off our combo. So this was pretty much it. Quicksilver can do this easily as well. Extra withers for him, so he should be able to get a max of 11. And pretty much keep Mangog at 0 power. Not for the entirety of the fight. You want to fluctuate with that special 1 bar. But there's our first special 2. It's getting close to unblockable with his special attacks. Again, not a big deal at all. I do eventually decide to push him to special 2. AoE is starting to kick in, so combat power rate is factoring in with these hits. But again, we haven't used the auto evade. Here, this is where I decide. Let's get those debuffs up. This doesn't quite KO him. He's at special 2. Not a big deal. Go ahead and throw it, big guy. Thank you. And then we go in to finish him. Boom, he goes. So, Silk, definitely very fun this season. And then Domino here we take with Omega Sentinel. We're going to do the same strat that I've done anytime I've used Omega Sentinel here. We're going to build the special 3, trigger a debuff intentionally, and then throw the special 3 after a little bit so that that doesn't get consumed by Conflictor as well. And almost guaranteed every time you throw that debuff and it pushes them over a bar of power, they throw it immediately. It's like the AI knows exactly what you want to do. So here we're just focused on ending combos with light attacks and understanding when Domino is lucky so that there's a chance to evade and being prepared for it, or just not attacking. Definitely not ending full combos while she has that chance to evade. But yeah, it's just playing smart, playing heads up, hoping that the AI throws special attacks. So thankfully she threw a special 2 there. We're going to work ourselves off the wall so that we're not cornered anymore. Finally off the wall. Throws a special 1 here, retaliate. Lucky, so we're heads up about evade. Decide there's no real reason to kind of retaliate that one. Let's just go ahead and let the lucky expire. Trying to work an opening in. She finally throws a heavy. And with a medium, there it is. 1 attack and the special 1. Throw the special 3. Debuffs are not paused going into this. So we're going to need to work a full combo in. She is lucky though, so we're going to wait for that to end. There we go. Thought she might try and come in. She didn't need to pause them anyways. So that was the end of my war. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the war. Go ahead and hit subscribe, give it a like, and I will catch you guys at the next war.